Welcome back. As you already know what it is, we've got our week 17 preview for you guys. Before we get started, let me know in the comments down below what your guys' thoughts are on that Miko Rantanen trade. I feel like Colorado kind of handcuffed themselves a little bit. They decided not to kind of pay Rantanen what he felt like he was due, even though like the cap should jump in a little bit. I think they're going to end up regretting this one, honestly. Like Carolina just looks like an absolute wagon right now. And then you get the opportunity to kind of do your best to sign that guy if you have some cap space available. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought, who won the trade, who should have done a lot better. That was an absolute mind boggler for me. Like I saw Elliot Friedman tweet that out and I was absolutely mind blown. Anyways, back to our week 17 preview. We've got the best forward, defenseman, and goaltending options for you guys for this upcoming week of fantasy hockey. There is a pretty typical schedule this week, but let's get right into the video, guys. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Similar schedule to last week, where the off nights are kind of front loaded into the week. You've got the Monday, the Wednesday, and the Friday on the 27th, the 29th, and the 31st. Vancouver is by far the best team available to stream from this week with 4 games and 3 off nights. There are a handful of teams that have 2 off nights, including the Kings and the Flyers, and then a couple teams that have 4 games and 1 off night, which are the Seattle Kraken and the Detroit Red Wings. There are a couple other teams that play 4 games, but they don't have any off nights, so I didn't feel that they should be included in the best schedule because we want to really target those off nights. For your max game schedule this week, guys, you want to stream a Vancouver Canuck if possible. If not, look for an LA King or a Philadelphia Flyer. But regardless, you're going to add and drop on the Friday and pick up somebody that has a back-to-back on the Saturday and the Sunday as kind of like that back-loaded schedule that the NHL will have, which I will touch on in a second. So anybody from the Flames, the Wings, the Islanders, the Panthers, or the Rangers are great options because they have a back-to-back. That will get you 5 games and 3 off nights for this week. On to the worst schedule. Again, very similar, where the Tuesday and the Thursday are the busy nights, and then Saturday, Sunday each have 9 games. So again, pretty busy. The Leafs, the Sharks have 2 games this week with only 1 off night, and the Sens have 2 games this week with no off nights. So if you have somebody from one of these teams that you can afford to drop to stream a better player to give you a better shot at winning your week as we get closer and closer to fantasy hockey playoffs, highly recommend that you do so. A lot of the players on these teams that you would typically own would be more of their elite players. So again, up to you guys what you want to do, but obviously hold on to the higher end players on these teams. And if you did stream somebody from one of these teams last week, be sure to pick somebody else up for this upcoming week. For my priority forward streams, obviously we want to target the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Connor Garland and Jake DeBrusk, basically everyone on Vancouver outside of Quinn Hughes, is in a bit of a slump right now. But we're not going to let the recency bias really influence us. Let's say, for example, Vancouver goes out and makes a trade. Let's say they finally move JT Miller or Elias Pettersson, and it kind of changes the makeup of their team, gives them some energy for this upcoming week. Again, no indication that that's going to happen, but I'm just saying we don't want to let the recency bias really change our stance on players. These are the 2 best available streamers for you in Connor Garland and Jake DeBrusk. They both play line 3. The only difference between the 2 is that Connor Garland's going to get that power play 1 time, so obviously you want to target him first before DeBrusk, and DeBrusk is honestly a little bit higher owned, so Garland should be more readily available. But again, both decent options for the upcoming week given the schedule. Quentin Byfield, I think, is a really good option. He's triple eligible, can play any position, 2 off nights to start off the week. His scoring's kind of slowed down a little bit, become a little bit more inconsistent in terms of that production, but he is still getting that power play 1 time, so I think he is a quality stream for this week at only 29% owned. Morgan Frost is now skating on that top line. It has been for a little bit now, alongside Owen Tippett and Travis Konechny. So I think, again, he's a really good option, especially in deeper leagues. He's my number 1 a deep league target for you guys. Only 7% owned, line 1, and power play 2. Now, Philly is kind of mixing up their power play. I looked at both, and I honestly like power play 2 a little bit more than power play 1. So I honestly think Frost is on the better set of the power plays in Philadelphia right now. And then Alex Ferrier, again, a little bit slower in terms of his production as of late. He's been injured a couple times, out of the lineup a couple games in the last 10, but he is back skating on line 2 and power play 2. So I think he's a really good option. He's skating with Kevin Fiala and Philip Deneau, so that should give him some good exposure. He's had a really good season so far, big breakout for him, and he should continue to shoot and score and get you some decent hit peripherals on top of that. On to my other forward streams for week 17, Matei Michkov. Again, the inconsistency is definitely there. When he does get rolling, though, he is hovering around a point-a-game player. He goes on these streaks. He's a very streaky type player, I guess you could say. But line 2 and power play 2 in Philadelphia, skating alongside Sean Couturier. I think he's a good option as a secondary option if you want to get to him, or you can't get to an LA King, for example, and you just prefer Michkov because he's on the better power play. Whatever the case is for your reasoning, I think he's still a good option at 47% owned, get you some shots, and the production, again, a little bit inconsistent, but when he's on, he is on. Capo, Kako, Jaden Schwartz, some other really good options. The only issue is that they only get one off night on the weekend. It's right at the start, so if you can't get to streaming one of them right off the rip because you have a delay on some of your ads and drops, which I know some leagues do. I still think they're great options, though, if you can get to them. Kako's been great, skating on the same line as Jaden Schwartz. The only difference between the two is whichever power play you prefer. Power play 2 for Capo Kako, power play 1 for Jaden Schwartz. Again, take a look at those. Decide whichever one you prefer. I think Schwartz probably has more of a floor than Kako, for example, and he's dual eligible, so I might honestly opt for Schwartz over Kako, but Kako's been really hot as of late. Definitely good options for both. And then finally, Marco Kasper. Again, if you can't find a deep league stream that you like let's say, like Morgan Frost isn't available, Marco Kasper is skating on that top line. Kasper should also get left wing eligibility relatively soon if he continues to skate on that top line alongside Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond, who have both been phenomenal as of late. The only downside is that he is bumped down to that power play too, but he does skate with them at 5-on-5, so I think he's a great deep league option for those of you for this upcoming week. Moving on to defenseman, Drew Doughty is traveling with the team on their road trip. That's a 5-game road trip. I don't exactly know when he's going to be back in the lineup, but I'm assuming it should be at some point. He is 60% owned. If he is available in your league, guys, please be sure to pick this guy up. He's going to jump back onto that top power play in LA. At least it's our anticipation that that's going to happen, just because Clark and Spence have kind of slowed down in terms of their production. On to Filip Hronek. I think, again, given the schedule, really good option, 42% owned. If you're in a more shallow league, for example, he's a good option. Skates alongside Quinn Hughes. It's very easy for you to just pick up a couple points here and there just from him dishing the puck to Hughes back and forth. The peripherals aren't great, but again, still a solid option given the week he is on that second power play unit. And then Jamie Drysdale, Rasmus Ristolainen, and I think given the schedule are some pretty solid options and readily available at 3 and 2% owned respectively. It just depends, again, what you guys want. Ristolainen's peripherals are definitely better than Drysdale, especially in the hit and block department, but Drysdale is, again, on that top power play unit and skates with Travis Konechny as well. So again, it's basically preference up to whether you guys want to go with Drysdale or Ristolainen. And then Brandt Clark is your last option for defenseman. When Doughty comes back, he'll skate on that second power play unit. Again, 2 off nights, depending on when Doughty gets back. If not, he should be still a really good option. Definitely a lot better peripherals instead of Jordan Spence, and I think they'll opt for having him on the power play. And then finally, guys, goaltending. Spencer Knight, again, continues to be a really good option. Florida is just rolling. February 1st against Chicago or Feb 2nd against the Islanders. He will get one of these starts. Marc-Andre Fleury, we're back to him again. January 30th versus Montreal. There weren't a ton of great back-to-backs this week, so some limited options for goaltending, but Fleury, again, the Wild continue to be an absolute juggernaut in the league. They're going to continue to win games. Fleury's been serviceable enough to where he gets you a chance to win and some pretty good numbers. So again, just a really good option, even though he is going up against the Habs at home. Justus Anunen, again, will get a back-to-back against a really weak opponent, whether it's the Sabres or the Penguins. Nashville's really kind of turned it around. Their top line is really clicking as well. So I would highly recommend taking a look at him if you need a goalie stream for the week at only 6% owned. And then finally, Daniel Tarasov. Utah's kind of banged up right now. No Dylan Guenther. Sergeychev's been day-to-day for like 6 days now, so I don't know what's happening with him. But he might be back in the lineup. But regardless, I think that Columbus, being one of the better teams and is kind of in like that playoff wildcard mix right now in the East, which is an absolute traffic jam right now. If you guys go look at the standings, should be a solid option as well. So definitely look at streaming him if you need a goalie ad for the week, but he is my last resort option for week 17. That will do for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of Mike's video. If you guys haven't checked that out, he did recommend some trade targets for you guys, so be sure to check out that video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck in your week 17 of fantasy hockey.